Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
What a great backdrop you've got.
Yeah, crazy, huh?
It sets up a really nice vibe for Dubai, but I've been here 22 years. This is what I used to look at. Like none of this was here. I used to live further down the road, and just when I came here and looking at the view, I was like, wow, it's changed so much.
I can imagine, like, if you look at now, probably half of it hasn't been there. Maybe the houses, the old town houses.
Well, like it's old City Walk is brand new, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
And the islands.
Yeah.
I mean, to see Bulgari Hotel, the World, Palmdira.
What do you prefer, the old or the new?
Oh, I think there's bits of both with anything.
Yeah.
I think there's so much more opportunities now. And that's one of the things that I love about Dubai. But I think one of the things that's always remained consistent from the day that I landed till now is the overall energy of the city.
Yeah.
There's a high energy of, can-do, positivity that is not like any other big city. And my family feel it when they come, you know, when they come from Scotland, or I've got friends visiting from London. They're like, when you come here, you just feel so happy. And it's true.
It's a different style. You've been 22 years, yeah? But what made you come here in the beginning?
I should just say I came as a baby, but sadly not. Which answer would you like? If I was to give the real answer, I was actually desperate to escape Scottish weather. Yeah.
Okay. But what made you come to Dubai? Like, did you see it on?
So that was not a choice. That was in the job centre on a very great day in Edinburgh.
Wow.
I was just desperately kind of looking for a job. So to set the scene
anywhere in a different country?
Anywhere. And in those days in the job centre, they'd just gone electronic, because we're talking 23 years ago.
YouTube didn't
No, none of that. So I clicked jobs worldwide.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect. And I just clicked this, Edinburgh, the weather, what else is out there? And I saw this job for cabin crew, and it said based in Dubai. So I printed out the application.
But have you heard of Dubai before?
No, never. Oh. And I went home and I said to my mum, I found this job interview. It says 65 hours a month or something like that. And I'm like, what kind of job? Where's Dubai? And my mum said to me, as a family, we actually went in the 90s on holiday to Bahrain. And so my family were always very much for taking us for different experiences. Yeah. And my mum said to me, do you remember we went on that family holiday to Bahrain in 1992? I was like, yes. And Dad couldn't drink. This is my memory of the holiday. In Bahrain, things were different. And my mum said, yes. And she said, it's like Bahrain, but it's the new up and coming city.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, but Dad couldn't drink in Bahrain. Priorities at 21, you know.
I'm Scottish.
Exactly. And I was like, well, I'm not going to Dubai if you can't have a drink and have no life. And I remember going into town in Princess Street. The bookshop's still there, Waterston's bookshop. And I looked at the Lonely Guide. You know, is it the Lonely Guide? The guidebooks.
Yeah.
And I looked through, I found Dubai. I looked through and I was like, bars and restaurants, they serve alcohol. Okay, close the book, put it in, and I applied for the job. And that aside, it was, a combinations of things, wanting to leave weather, try somewhere new. I was very curious at the time. I'd spent some time traveling and living overseas. And at 21, I still wasn't convinced what I wanted to do with my life. And the opportunity to live in this exciting city.
Best decision you made, huh?
Yeah. And I said to my mum, but I don't know if I want to be cabin crew and serve tea and coffee and chicken and beef. And my mum said this to me. She said, it will be the stepping stone to the next big thing for you.
Wow. Your mum's letting you go.
Totally. And I want to know where she has the crystal ball at home. Yeah. Because she was right. She was so right. So that was...
And letting you go as well. Not like say, no, don't go. Scotland is good. Stay here,
Oh, no, she was quite happy. She was like, go and explore. Go. I think she was thinking, oh, holidays, Dubai. This could be nice. So she really gave me the encouragement, because I didn't know where it was 20 odd years ago. I didn't really know what to expect. And took the job, and the process for getting into Emirates in those days was tough. I had to fly to London. There was no recruitment process in London, in Scotland at the time. I mean, Emirates didn't even fly from Scotland at the time to Dubai. And it was a lengthy process. Your pictures got, they were very detailed, that they looked at your pictures, how you came across. The Emirates has standards and how they deliver their service. So I was delighted when I was thinking about it the other day, actually, when they sent me the app, to say that you'd got the job. And it was on very expensive paper. It was thick paper. It was cream. It had the Emirates logo in gold.
Wow.
And it said, you've got the job.
And then you got the job and then?
Came to Dubai.
Oh,
yeah.
Crazy. And how long were you in the cabin crew?
So I did that for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And I think, again, I mentioned at the start about the energy of the city. So that was 2003, April, that I landed. And within 2.5 years, I had got the entrepreneurial bug. And it seemed that everyone around me was thinking of a business, starting a business. And I was excited by this. And I think that's a lot to be said for the people that you're around, the energy that they bring. And I was like, I want a piece of this. And I think there's a lot to be said for being quite naive. And at 24, I was very naive.
Yeah.
How hard can it be to start a business? It can't be this hard to start a business. It is. And especially in those days when women in business, like, it wasn't supportive. There wasn't those opportunities. It was very in unknown market, and especially the business that I started. So what I launched in 2005 was, I saw a gap in the market through all the passengers that I spoke to on the plane. Every time they came into Dubai, I'd say, where are you going? What do you want to shop for? And I would always leave them with, interestingly, the same paper that I had got my confirmation of the job. We had this in the premium cabins, and I would write down, okay, you need to go shopping here. You need to look for this shop. You need to look for this shop. So I thought, I'm going to launch a shopping service in Dubai to target the people that are visiting Dubai. I saw all the stats on how many visitors were going to come to Dubai. And this is going to be my business. And I didn't give it a huge amount of thought. I didn't have a huge amount of savings. In fact, I didn't have any. And I just decided, what's the worst that can happen? And that's the thing about here. I think Dubai has this encouragement behind it, and I think a lot is that with the ruler and the what they believe in terms of how they built the Dubai as a city and how they market it. That then comes into the people that live here. And
do you think that was his aim, his vision of the ruler, like having this, and it's working, like having this? I don't know. His mindset must be, of course, there's money behind it, but people laughed about, I know from Germany when they built the Burj Arab, and they still laugh about UAE a bit, don't they?
Yeah.
Like just to make it down.
Well, the British love having the newspapers in the UK love a bit of a Dubai bash.
In the Sun or the Daily Mail or something.
The Daily Mail, absolutely. They love a Dubai bash. I would say 100%. The vision of the family and the younger generations, what they're bringing in, but it's also, there's so many aspects to Dubai that make it the city that it is. The fact that it's safe, the weather, that kind of waking up and going to the gym at 5:30 in the morning is a lot more appealing in Dubai in this climate than in Scotland in this snow. Yeah. So things like that, okay, the ruler can't do anything about that. That's also just the environment of the city, that the sun does make it a happier environment and less cold to wake up in. Yeah,
you feel it yesterday. Okay, it wasn't cold yesterday, but grey and rainy. Already the feeling is a bit different, isn't it? And then today is completely different again.
Beautiful,
so most of the time of the year, it's like the days it's sunny, isn't it?
Yeah. We have that little haze, but it's sunshine. Yeah. Absolutely.
And so the last couple of years, so you said you started with that journey, and then now you're doing, say, you're personal branding, you're writing your own books, you're doing masterminds, you're speaking on TEDx, you're doing a lot of things. But what made you go into that direction?
So I launched my business, and as I grew my business, I invested a huge amount into personal development. And again, in those days, there weren't as many opportunities here. I traveled a lot to attend masterminds, work with coaches, and my business knowledge grew, my confidence grew. And throughout the business journey, there was a bit of an aha moment around when a luxury retailer, Harvey Nichols, contacted me and asked me, as a stylist, because that's what I was doing then, could I come and host an event for them? And of course, to be collaborating and be paid to work with luxury, it's a great kudos for you. And they asked me, could I send to them my bio, my pictures, my logo? And I did all of that. And the marketing department said to me, I'm afraid we can't use this. And I thought, oh, that's odd. Like, why? Maybe I had all these reasons, maybe why. And they said, oh no, you've sent me all the information about your business. I said, yeah, I have a business. And they said, no, if we're going to do a collaboration, we want to do a collaboration with you. So we need your bio. We need your logo. And I was like, okay. And the sort of penny dropped for me, because I was doing a bit of keynote speaking then about entrepreneurship, starting a business. What was it like? I was going to schools. I'd written my first book. And interestingly, it didn't fit under my business because it was me. So that's when I first kind of understood that alongside your business, you have your personal brand. Although I didn't really know that it was
important or exists in the end.
Yeah, I didn't know that actually you can make so much more money from just a personal brand. So I bought my domain name, Kelly Lundberg, and they ran alongside each other. So I had Kelly Lundberg personal brand, and I had my styling business personal brand. And for 15 years, I had my styling business 15 years, but I sold that business when I was ready to evolve, because that's the thing. You don't stay what you're doing forever, you evolve. And this evolution meant that I could sell my business. I operated as a speaker underneath my own personal brand until I got clarity on what is the next service that I have with my skill set that I can offer clients. And I look back at my journey of the last 15 years in business and went, you know what? How did I get that TEDx talk? Personal brand. How did I get that opportunity to partner with that brand? Personal brand.
So they saw you as you had your personal brand, but they got in contact with you on social media, or was it on the...
All through social media. So either through social media, LinkedIn, or through Instagram, but under my name, not the business. And this is the important...
More trust, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But people buy from people.
Yeah.
And that's when I looked at going, okay, how can I help other people? And a lot of business owners of all this knowledge that I've learned in personal development, all of this knowledge that I've learned building my own brand, getting all these amazing opportunities, I know's come from personal branding. I can help others build their visibility and credibility by using their personal brand, which in turn people go, does that grow my business? 100%. Because as your value of you grows, your ROI goes, you can charge more, people want to have you, you can sell your business. There's just so much more with it.
But do you think there's still a lot of like business owners which are not doing personal branding?
Yeah.
But some of them don't need to do it because maybe they reached already some big amount of money, so they don't need to do personal branding? Or do you think it should still be done?
So it's interesting, that perspective. It's maybe they don't need to. It's maybe
they don't want to as well.
That's it. It's the want.
They don't want to. They don't need to. They are, of course, they say they're shy in front of the camera. But is it also a good thing to do it because you're showing other people that you can change your lives becoming an entrepreneur, or even just if you're not becoming an entrepreneur, just to show yourself that there's a different life than just doing the same thing every day?
I think the most important thing is you've got to want to do it, so it's got to attach.
Well, there's a lot
to
of work
something.
as well, isn't it?
Yes and no. In the beginning, to get clarity on what is it that you want to be known for. So let's take someone who's maybe got a very successful business. They're not doing it because they need to necessarily grow their business. But what they maybe need to do it is to inspire their team. And I think a huge part of personal branding is also memorable leadership. Lead how you want others. If you want people within your organization, so not necessarily maybe the team at the bottom, but your C-suite, inspire them to lead with confidence. That comes from the top. So I think there's one element of that, inspiring and memorable leadership with personal branding. But I heard Gary Vaynerchuk, very interestingly, he had maybe 4 super wealthy friends, people that he knew in business. And they were very much that, but I don't need personal branding. And he said, yeah, but are you passionate about a cause? And they're like, well, yes, I'm very passionate about, I don't know, I can't even remember what it was, but let's just say school children and getting them education or whatever it was. Okay. So you're passionate about that. You have a platform. You can use your platform for philanthropy. So why would you not use your personal brand to not necessarily do something that's going to revenue generate for yourself, but using your personal brand as something that can give back to others?
Yeah.
And that's the connection. So how are you going to use it? Because ultimately, the naivety of people going, well, I don't want to invest in personal brand. Doesn't matter. You have one. Everybody has a personal brand. It's just, how are you choosing to create that and how you're seen? And then some people will say, well, isn't that manipulating it? No, it's just getting clarity on what do you want to be known for? Because that evolves and takes time.
But what about, say, you see influencers or entrepreneurs or crypto millionaires, they're showing the villas, the cars, and then you have, like, say, a couple of hundred employees. If they see that, don't they get, like, say, they get jealous, or something can change, or do they deserve to show it if they want to show it? And then if they're selling something, the people will see that he's successful, he's made it,
Yeah.
and he's showing it. Is it good?
I think everyone's got an opinion on that.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to how are you doing it and your delivery. And that's the whole thing with personal branding, is that it doesn't need to be, yeah, sure, you have people on social media that are showing off and they're driven by ego. Look at me, look at me, look at me. That's one type of self-promotion that the reality is lots of people don't like. But if that's all you do, then that can repel people from a personal brand. However, if there's a way that you bring in, and what I talk about with clients is, how are you delivering value? Is what you're sharing delivering value to your audience, or is it a self-promotion, look at me? And 9 times out of 10, people can work out what it is and how they showcase it online.
Yeah.
And what you want is how you come across online to be the same as you are in person. And I'm pretty sure if the people on social media are going, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me, they're probably a bit like that in real life. So where and how do you want to come across? You can shape that. I really believe that.
Who is one of your, like, say, favorites, or who's like a role model as a competition to you in the world, which you can say, okay, he's done it right? Of course, it depends, of course, when he started and if everything is real and authentic behind it.
Yeah, I would be looking at probably the personal development world. So I'd be looking at people like Mel Robbins that have a podcast, that have a book, that go on stage, that are inspiring people. For me, I look at that because you always want to have people that are 1 chapter, 5 chapters, 10 chapters, that kind of aspirational, going, wow, they're doing great. How can I incorporate some of that into what I'm doing now, but on a much smaller scale, and build up to that? So I would kind of look outside of the UAE and be looking at your Jay Shetty, your Mel Robbins, those kind of people that are bringing value to people en masse and helping people through their social media platforms and through the knowledge that they're sharing.
Well, you think, like, Jay Shetty, I read a story last year, he wasn't a monk. Is that true?
Yeah, I don't know enough about
It.
that. I mean, yeah, I think I had read something similar.
He
on
wasn't
that.
really a monk, but he's just promoting it, and he's just selling something, and then
Yeah.
people believe it. So he has a story behind it.
Yeah.
You know, like, you don't know if it's true or not true.
Well, and that's the whole thing.
But it can also, if something is it's really fact, it can destroy the personal brand as
And
well.
how much are you prepared to do that? I mean, authenticity, I believe, and that's just me, whatever you end up doing,
Yeah.
you'll get found out eventually. So you got to lead with some sort of transparency and authenticity. And if he hasn't, that will come out at some point. I don't know how, but I think but then there's also the other side of people that will make up stuff because they're envious of, jealous of the success that people are doing. So yeah, and there's more repercussions coming now. So if you take Stephen Bartlett with his Diary of the
Same
CEO,
thing, yeah.
exactly.
So once they reach a high level, it happens
But
automatically.
people
isn't it?
then will start, not to everyone, but people will start to dig. They'll start to make up things. They'll start to create things. But then there needs to be more transparency.
Yeah.
And that is on the part of the influencer or the person in the public eye to say, this is an ad. I'm sharing this as an ad. I've collaborated with these people. I've not been paid, or I have been paid, or whatever it is. But being truthful and transparent, that's a personal, that's the true authenticity.
Do you think like the market in UAE, especially in Dubai, like which niches are still open as an entrepreneur if they want to move here, relocate here, start a business, or they already have an existing business and they want to bring it here?
I think if you've got I don't think there's any that's potentially oversaturated. I mean, there's a lot of real estate out there. But I think that comes down to there's a lot of properties to sell. I think from my perspective, from having seen 22 years, I think the days of coming to Dubai, getting the big salaries, having your kids' education paid for, the health insurance, those days are gone now. And I think unless you're with a big organization, it's tough to secure those kind of things because Dubai is not a hardship posting. People want to come, they can get cheaper labor. I see on all these Facebook groups that, I'm thinking of moving to Dubai. Do you think this salary is enough? I'm leaving. Like every day there's multiple posts going, should I move to Dubai? And it's all relative because there's people living here on 10,000 dirhams. There's people living and struggling on 100,000, depending on where they are. But I think you've got to come with savings. You've got to come with savings, from getting a job to being able to upfront for kids' school fees to upfront for rental. I think being aware of that is huge.
If you come with someone, if you come here alone, I come there with nothing, come here.
Me, exactly. So and me too.
Same, because there's like, as you know yourself, a door opens after another door opens, doesn't it? And if you go the journey, you grow as a person and you find solutions. You know?
I heard recently that 1 in 5 people in Dubai own a business. And I thought that was a really interesting stat because those that are business owners have a very different mindset to, I've got a connection. Or, for example, I could say to you, I know some people that would be great on your podcast. There's very much that kind of, how can I help you? Do you know this person? Whereas I don't think it's like that in other cities. And I think that then comes back to the cycle of the energy of helping others and supporting others on their journey. Everyone's come here with little or nothing, so to speak, and started again in a new city that's not theirs.
100%. And when you go to other countries, like if you've been to LA or New York, London, how is it there if you're like speaking or you're meeting business people? Has it the same vibe?
No. So interestingly, a few years ago, I thought LA was the answer for me, the next step. Because I was working in fashion, I was a celebrity stylist.
Cool there, huh? You see,
exactly. So you then, because that's the one thing here, you get visiting A-list celebrities. So it was quite hard to break into your top A-list celeb unless you're in LA. So I spent a bit of time there. But I felt that connections were quite close guarded. It wasn't like, I know someone, I'll put you in touch with them.
Stay in downtown or where did you stay?
No. I stayed on the on Hollywood. Trying to remember where it is. The main strip. There. And it was, I think what I found quite interesting, a couple of observations, was accommodation was expensive. So I remember at the time I was living on Palm Jumeirah, and what I was spending, or what would have been spending on Palm Jumeirah in a nice new apartment was something quite grotty in Sunset.
The motel.
Kind of, I've got, and it was dark. Dark, and I think, a lot of these places here are light, they're new. And there was that kind of crunch point of going, okay, I need this amount of money to live here, to live a similar standard of life. So I've lived here since I'm in my early 20s. I've only lived as an adult in Dubai. So I don't want to go somewhere else and have a rubbisher life.
You can't, because you have your standards. And
I don't even know if rubbisher is even a word, I would have probably sworn at that point. But I didn't want to do that. And I thought, wow, okay, at that point, when I would be building up my celebrity styling career in LA, could I generate the same revenue that I'd want to live in a 3-bedroom duplex apartment in Hollywood at the time? No, I couldn't. And I was like, do you know what? I value the quality of life. I'm going back to Dubai.
So how long did you stay in LA
I
for?
did a couple of months stints at a time because you need time there as well, to get connections.
That was when?
2015, 2016, but I think the US has changed massively now. So
So in the end, like, was there anything, something pro, which was like a positive
about
LA compared to Dubai?
um very good question.
Maybe say if you had time to travel, the
Yeah.
traveling is nice, isn't it? If you drive to Malibu, maybe, or
Yeah, but
it's,
do even I'm trying to think at the time, because one of the things I struggled a lot with there as well was the time difference.
yeah,
I found that I was last to do anything, and I think that was quite interesting because,
the time zone is very far, isn't it?
isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think from always being ahead, and my family being in the UK, I was always used to being first to do anything in my day and picking up emails from everywhere and what have you. Whereas it was nearly like I would start my day so early there, and then all of a sudden things get very quiet at 12 o'clock because effectively the whole world's kind of shut down. And yeah. So what did I love about it? I mean, it's LA at the end of the day. There's that buzz. We did so many cool things, like entertainment activities and yeah, I loved all that. We went to award ceremonies. Of course, there's definitely pluses to being there. But if you were to ask me to choose,
Dubai, yeah, crazy. Yeah, you think about it, like major. I've been to California, LA as well. It's nice. It was my dream actually to live in America before like coming to Dubai. But then, as you say, when you in Dubai, you just experience another level of life, you know. So you think like, what the hell you want to go to America? Here's opportunities.
yeah,
It's just striving forward, and you have more and more Americans now moving. The only thing is the big difference of the flying there, isn't it? So
yeah.
it's like 1 day fly from Dubai to USA. That's why I think so. It's not that many who live here at the moment.
But we've got the direct flight,
It's
again, all
direct
these
flights, of
things
course,
as
but there's
well.
still, I don't know your sense of it, you still don't see so many American accent people here. It's still taking some time, but it's happening, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's also down to education.
Yeah,
I think for such a long time, a little bit like I had
yeah,
that preconceived idea as 25,
yeah,
22 years ago that you couldn't drink and you couldn't do this
yeah.
and women can't
But
drive.
still, people still think that, don't they? A
Yeah,
woman, yeah, exactly,
exactly.
no?
Oh, so if I'm ever traveling and people, oh, so can you drive?
Yeah,
Or, can you even go out on your own? And
yeah.
like, Dubai, can you go out and party? Yeah, absolutely. So the education's got better, but still now, 20, 25 years on, people still ask those questions.
I can understand, because when I come to Dubai 5 years ago, I didn't even search like on YouTube or something about Dubai. I was looking for tax-friendly countries, and I had contact with Dubai like I think it was 8 9 years back, but I only saw Bush Arab, but I didn't really know actually what's happening. And I think if you're from other countries like America, or you haven't got the education, or some small desert place, you wouldn't know. So I didn't even know. So how would they know? So it's just a different. Just like they just everyone. We think everyone should know about the places in the world, but it's not
They
like that.
don't know it's true. Yeah, I remember years ago my last trip as cabin crew. I picked to go to Hawaii because I thought, I never know. We used to get cheap tickets, and I was like, oh, I never know if one day I might not get back here. And I picked the furthest place that I ever knew and always wanted to go. And I remember being in a hotel, and it was an American guy, and he was like, "Where are you from?" And I said, "I'm originally from Scotland, but I live in Dubai." And he's like, "Oh, where in Scotland is Dubai?" And I was like, no, it's not in it's not in Dubai. He's like, and he just wasn't aware. But I think education, but I think probably the one thing that frustrates me the most about people that haven't visited Dubai but have an opinion
Yeah.
on the place.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And they go, it's not for me. Well, how do you know? Well, I just know, I just see the stuff.
The heat or the desert. That's the two main things, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like, well, you go and make the decision on that, and then you can go, do you know what? Actually, yeah, everything was air conditioned, or wow, they're doing this or whatever it is. So that frustrates me a little.
Yeah, it's amazing. What's your future look like in Dubai next 5 years? Any big plans you want to achieve here?
Yeah, good question. So my husband recently moved here, so that
He
kind
was
of
in, stayed in
he was in
Scotland.
Scotland,
Well, all the
yeah.
time.
So we did long distance for 4 years.
Wow.
So
It's hard, huh?
yeah, but there was elements that were
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
But yeah, we did 4 years long distance. So he's been here now 18 months, and he, if I'd said to him 6 years ago, you're going to come and live in Dubai, he still laughs about it. He said, no way, I would never leave Edinburgh. And now if you say to him, what, do you love Dubai? And he's like, I think it's the best place. Like, I never want to go.
He's been backwards and forwards.
Yeah, he'd been back and forward so
and
many
you get
times.
used to it. Yeah, yeah.
And now he's settled, and he said, it's the quality of life. I feel happier. So for us, Dubai is home for the foreseeable future. And for us now, it's about building on that. So we've just invested in more property, and that's something that we want to do a little bit more of. And Dubai always being the base, but I'm traveling a lot more now, which again, Dubai is a great hub for. I speak on a lot of stages, so I'm back in London in a few weeks, the States at some point this year, and potentially India. So being able to do all of those from Dubai makes it so much easier. So for sure, more travel and having Dubai as the hub here for me is great. But I'm not the one serving this time. I'll be the one sitting in the seat, which is a nice full circle. I keep thinking one day I need to go back to Emirates and say, I need to do a story for all your cabin crew to share the evolution
how your journey
of
began,
it.
and what's your journey now? And
Absolutely.
it's interesting. And just going into the property, so you already bought a few properties and you're thinking to buy more properties. Why especially then Dubai, the real estate market? Why is it so interesting?
Well, one, I'm here, so I can manage a few of them while we have a smaller portfolio. But I think that there's still opportunities here. What you can buy, and again, there's different levels. We're playing at the small end, but I know that there is
Mostly off-plan projects?
No, developed.
Okay.
I have bought in the past. The one I'm living in, for example, now was bought off plan. But the ones that we just closed on another one in September there, and it was ready to move into. So we're looking more at those ones.
You're investing and then renting them off.
Yes. Yeah. So it's and it's actually something I'm doing with a girlfriend of mine.
Okay, so you're doing together. You're also renovating it, making
No,
the design?
we're buying one. No, not selling yet, just buying and going in and renting, which is quite nice because a lot of people don't understand that even as a friend, you can buy properties together. And for women in business that maybe are not in a position to take a full mortgage on the whole place, buy it outright with your friend or your family member, and then you own it. And people don't realize that you can do that. So that's something that we're talking about on our social media pages and sharing our journey of doing that as well.
Interesting. So, and do you have any properties in Scotland?
Yeah, we have it in Edinburgh.
Will you keep them, or are you going to sell them
keep
off?
that for now. Yeah.
So you keep them, and are you still going to aim to get more properties in Dubai?
Yeah.
And then have your center here, build your kids?
No.
Not yet.
No.
Maybe planning on kids in the future.
Who knows?
What's your husband do then?
Yeah, so he works in software. So
he can work here, or is
his office is here and in Scotland. So again, we've got the flexibility.
So he also has his own business.
Not his own business. He works for a company.
Okay, so they have an office here and in Scotland, so he can get promoted here in the end.
Yeah.
So everything's working out.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was really, really good. So whenever he goes home to Scotland, which he still loves, he loves Scotland, and he loves going back. And he's an avid rugby, not player, but avid rugby fan.
Yeah.
So he enjoys going back and watching that, and can combine those trips.
So how do you get in contact with all these bookings of people? You being on stage, as you say, you going to India, you were in USA and London. How does that happen?
So I think with certainly stage presentations, unless you're creating your own stage talk, then it's a longer lead game. And I think a lot of that comes from visibility. So you've got to be seen. And you've got to tell people that you can do this. You can't just assume people know that you're a speaker or that you've got a framework that can change the way people show up. You've got to tell people. So that's where having a strategy, using your social media, having a PR or a publicist that can help you, getting the opportunity to be in your niche magazines if you're in Bitcoin, or if you're in wellness, be in the wellness magazine so other people can see that, because it all adds credibility, and then that adds value to your personal brand, and then people want to have you. And I think that's the powerful difference between having a personal brand and not having a personal brand, is that people want to work with you because of what they see. People want to hire you because of what they see, not because they need to. There needs to be that emotional connection, and social media is one of the easiest ways to do that. Compound that with media, blogs, podcasts. Daniel Priestley shares this analogy, or I guess you could say a framework, where it's 7-11-4. So people need to be able to spend or binge watch 7 hours of content or of you. 11, 11 different interactions on 4 different platforms.
Okay.
So if we've got 7 hours of content, that could be YouTube, that could be Reels, that could be anything, that could be coming to hear you at a talk, that could be a webinar, build up so that people can binge watch on that. 11 different times it could be, hey, we met here. Then we could bump into, I could see you on social media, and then we could bump into each other at an event. And then on the different platforms. And I think it's quite a good way to start to build up that value in what you're offering, so that it's not a, hey, look at me with my car and my house. You want to do it in a more inspiring way.
Yeah.
So that's when people see it and then they reach out to you. So your social media is very much like your shop window.
Yeah.
So people will say to me, one of our packages is that we do is we help our people or clients that have a personal brand or want to develop their personal brand to be a speaker. Because speaking is one of the fastest ways to grow your visibility. 1-to-many versus 1-to-1. So you can share your message with more people. But 2, as soon as you're on that stage, then people see you as an expert because you're sharing knowledge. So that compound with the fact that you're speaking 1-to-many then grows the visibility, but then also grows your credibility. So if you're then talking about these experiences through your social media, people will go, okay, next time I need to hire someone for in-house team training, I saw Kelly on LinkedIn was doing personal branding at HSBC, or she was in Visa, or she was speaking at this, must see what she can come and do in with us. And that's where that starts. But if you're not talking about that, then how do people know?
Exactly, yeah. But what was the first time you did it? We were on stage, and was it scary?
Yeah, I think the first one, the first kind of ones I remember, even before Harvey Nichols, because that was the first big one that was paid, and with a big brand. But the very first one, I think maybe I was a couple of years in business, and it was at the World Trade Center, and the organizers, I think it was a networking event, so it wasn't paid. They had just said, can you come along and share your experience of setting up a business and what it's been like as a woman, starting your business to now. And I was like, wow, like I felt a little bit of imposter syndrome, because I'd only been in business a couple of years, but sure, a couple of years more than people in the room who maybe wanted to start a business. And they put me alongside Michael Leali, who owns Property Finder. And I remember being very intimidated, thinking, wow, here's Michael with this business selling £1 million properties. And then there's me with my little personal shopping business. And I remember both our styles were quite different in how we communicated our story. But I was really visual with mine. And it was really interesting because I shared the day that I decided to start my business, I wrote it down on the back of a napkin in what was Madinat Jumeirah. There was a bar there called Left Bank. And I wrote it all down, and I stood and I held up the napkin. And I said, this was where my business plan started. A lot of people think they need to have pages and pages and professional. No, it was on here because the weekends used to be Friday, Saturday. In fact, the weekends when I first came used to be Thursday, Friday. And you know what was really interesting? At the end, I had a queue of people wanting to come and speak to me. And they all said, I've got a napkin idea. I've got a napkin idea. And that's the whole thing when it comes to personal brand, is being able to emotionally connect with someone by sharing a story and go, hey, this is how it started for me. Is that inspiring you? And there was a queue of people that it was inspiring.
Nice feeling, huh?
Yeah, to be able to inspire them to action.
Yeah.
So that was one of the very kind of first times. But I've done a lot of training and personal development and coaching. And one coach said to me years ago, if you want to get better at speaking, you need to be speaking 4 times a month. It's like, wow, where am I going to get 4 opportunities a month to speak? You know, now, yeah, you can go 4 times a day on social media.
If you wanted to, yeah.
But in those days, there wasn't that. So I looked everywhere that I could either speak for free. I offered to go into schools. I spoke in networking groups. I joined Toastmasters and built up that 4 hours so that one day when I got the TEDx opportunity, because I didn't know when that was going to happen,
But it happened.
I was ready.
Yeah, you already made the journey towards it. You came in action, and then you achieved it in the end. Exactly.
And that was a big bucket list tick. I wanted to do a TEDx talk. I just didn't know how and when that opportunity.
Yeah.
But they always say, what is it? Luck is the combination of preparation and opportunity. Yeah. Someone who's listening and watching will go, no, that's not right. But I'll find it and put it in the show notes. And that's what I believe that the TEDx, people go, oh, you're so lucky you did a TEDx. Well, no, because I was practicing to get better at public speaking.
And then the opportunity comes.
Yeah, and I told people that I wanted to do a TEDx talk. And interestingly, the opportunity for the TEDx talk, and this is funny with connections, came from someone who I used to play field hockey with. So when I first came to Dubai to make friends, I joined what I used to play in school, which was hockey. And I made loads of friends, different, not cabin crew. They were all people that had different jobs here. So opened up my circle a little bit more. And it was one of the wives of the people that I met at hockey 10, 15 years later said, I'm doing a TEDx talk. I think you'd be perfect.
Wow, crazy.
Yeah.
It was my aim also to come on that TEDx talk. Yeah, nice one. So we have to finish the interesting podcast now. And you have your book, The Seeds, the Lemon in the End, Elevate Your Personal Brand by Kelly Lonenberg. It's a second book, huh?
Yeah. So the first one was all about entrepreneurs. Yeah. I was fascinated by entrepreneurship, still am, but it was never related to my niche. And people were like, don't you have a fashion styling book? Nope, it's just about entrepreneurs. So when I wanted to do my second print publication, I wanted it to be in what I was known for, because also this helps when you're speaking. Do you make money publishing? No, very rare. But it's a great calling card. It's a great, if someone listens to the audiobook, which they can access anywhere, then they're consuming 7 hours of content of me. And that's part of the 7-11-4. So then people get to know who you are. They get to understand what you're all about. And then speaking opportunities even more come when you have a book. So maybe that's the next thing you need.
Yeah, it's already, I was planning it already a long time ago, but then I stopped. It will come.
Maybe you need to expedite it. Put it at the top. Bring it back to the top.
Yeah, too many things I'm doing. It'll come in the right time. Yeah, I will put the link in the bio too, so we can order on Amazon. Huh?
Yeah, Amazon. Yeah.
So buy a couple of these books
or Audible, because I mean I'm a massive consumer of listening. I love when you have the ability to be able to do more than one thing at the same time. So when I walk to the gym, I listen. When I walk back, I listen. And for me, it's at least I get 40 minutes of learning ticked off in the day and my steps.
Yeah, nice one. Yeah, thanks, Kelly.
My pleasure. I really enjoyed it.